Hey, how's it going, everybody? I was tagged again by the Moody Bobby 1. Okay, now this time I was tagged on making a knife sheath out of duct tape. Everybody knows what duct tape is, and everybody loves duct tape. So, okay, that's a pretty good indoor tag for this kind of year. You know, sloppy outside, have projects going inside the house. So this is going to be, now he said this is a good way of improvising skills and using whatever you have laying around. And it's kind of a fun tag, you know. But anyway, it's going to be making a knife sheath out of a duct tape. And if you want to, you can add cardboard, plastic, whatever. And he also kind of said, you know, he said you can use a machete, you know, maybe even have like a machete kit, you know, whatever you can come up with is interesting. So whenever I pass on this tag, you know, if you want to do a machete or an axe or, you know, whatever, then that's pretty cool. So now the way I'm going to do this is I have been thinking now normally, let's say when I carry a big beefy thick machete like this one right here, heavy chopper, okay? Use that for chopping stuff. Heavy wood processing. Now, this knife is not 1/4 inch thick. It's only 3/16 thick. And it's got a full flat grind. So it's not necessarily got the weight that I care for a heavy chopper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair this up with my saw. Okay, my Baco Laplander. Because see, that way it'll be great. Because to me, this, well, whoops, my toe. This acts like, this is a machete, but to me it acts like an axe, okay? To me, this acts like a big knife. It doesn't act like an axe or a machete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sheath for it, and then I'm going to pair it up with a saw, okay? And, because I don't have a sheath for this saw anyway, but what I'm thinking I'm going to do too is if it turns out real nice, if I like the look of it, I think I may just whip together a, I got some Cordura, I may just whip together a real sheath out of it. So, alright, let's get started on this. I'm going to cut out some cardboard and start taping some stuff together and see how it looks. Alright, now what I think I'm going to do to start out with is I'm just going to start out with some cardboard right here. And I'm going to lay the knife on it, and I'm going to kind of figure out what I need to do to get the width of it right. Okay, so I'm going to take a chosen width right here, mark it. Alright, give it a mark down here. Alright, and take this straight edge, mark it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple of pieces. I'm going to cut a couple of pieces, and then I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it out with a a pair of shears or a knife or something. I think I'll use these. These things right here, they work pretty good. And what I'll do is I'll cut these out, and then I'm going to start folding it over, and I'm going to kind of look at it and see how I think it should look, and then once I've got it to how it's going to look, then I'll cover it with duct tape. Alright, now what I've done so far with this thing is I have cut out a long strip of paper, and it wasn't necessarily long enough, so I had to go ahead and tape another piece on it. And as you can see on the back, this is, I'm recycling too. This is one of Nick's old Cub Scout posters that he screwed up. Now what I'm doing here is I've got, on the back right here, I'm going to fold this thing over 3 inches, okay? That way it's going to have a 1/2 inch seam, and it'll still fit over a pistol belt. That's one of the conditions for me for a knife sheath. It has to fit over a pistol belt, okay? So, alright, I've got this part done right here, and then I have a chosen distance down here that the knife is going to fit in, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll flip it over like that, okay? Now in case I want to make the real deal, in case I like the way this thing looks, what I'm going to do is it's going to stop right here, and on the back where I've got the belt loop, I'm going to have a spot right here where this won't be, that I can have a strap. Okay. Alright, so pretty much that part right there is designed and done. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out a place for the saw. Now I'm not going to put the saw up towards the top right here. What I'm going to do is, because when I get it in and out, it may be hitting this handle here. So I'm just going to move it all the way to the bottom right here. All the way down. Okay. That way when I pull it up and out of the pocket, it'll be missing this. And so I'm actually thinking about all these things ahead of time while I'm designing it. So now I got to cut out some paper for this. So what I'll do is I'll take this width, and then I'll measure the height right here of how wide that needs to be for the pocket for it. Okay. All right. Now where we left off before, I had this much done. Okay. I had it where I can fold this over, and that's going to be the pouch for the knife. And then there's a belt loop under the back side here. Okay. Now what I did is I measured for my saw to go in. Okay. So what I did is I want it down at the bottom. And what I did is I made it the width of my sheath, and then I took the height of the saw and put it on the sides and the bottom. Okay. And then what I did, I bent them so that I can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. And then I snipped a little bit. Oh, I missed that one. I snipped the edges right here just a little bit. And then I snipped a 45 right through here. Okay. So now all that's left to do is to fold these over like that. Can you see? Fold it over like that. And then I'm going to glue it. I mean, not glue it. I'm going to, I'm going to tape it down. Tape it down just like that. Okay. And then that's going to be the way it's going to look right there. See if I can pick it up. That's what it's going to be right there. I'm going to have my knife at the top and my saw at the bottom, all in one sheath. Okay. So now comes duct tape time. Alright. Alright, one of the little details that I left out is for the width of this, okay, for the width of the blade, I took a piece and I folded it over a couple of times, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it on. So what I'm going to do is make a little mark right here. Okay, that way I have a little bit of room in there for it, for the blade to slide. Put this down there like that. A little bit of tape there. A little bit of tape there. And see, I'm going to try to make that other one later. And if I do a really lousy job, then what I'll do is I'll just put a ton more on this. I may even take some aerosol glue and put some cloth on this thing. Alright, let's see. You know, whenever you buy a new Ontario machete, and they send it to you in a box, it's covered in cardboard anyway, so if it's good enough for Ontario, it's good enough for me. Alright, what I'll do now is take this, and see, this thing is going to slide in there perfect now. And that's what I'll do. I'll tape it together like this right here. I'll put a little bit of tape. Just to get myself going, I'll put a little bit of tape on each end right here. Give it a little bit of a lift up right here. Wrap some tape around here. And wrap some tape around here. That ought to be getting going right there then. Alright, now's the time to go crazy with the duct tape. Man. This thing's gonna look terrible. Slide that in. Grab a couple of pieces. Start taping down here. Starting to look like something, ain't it? Like a redneck hillbilly proud right there. Isn't that neat? Alright, I got the bottom half done right there. Kind of neat. Where the saw goes in. See if a blade goes in. So it's got a little bit of a gap in there. You ain't got to worry about, since you got the little spacers on the side, you ain't got to worry about it cutting it out. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, on this back side where the belt loop is, I'm going to, let's see. I hear Nick up there beating on the door. He's making fun of me because I was going to make a knife sheath. I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to tape this part to this edge so that when I tape it over, I got a little bit of a gap for it to go into the belt loop. Okay, so I'll tape that part now. Alright, a little more tape right in here. Alright, got these two pieces here. So pull the saw out. I got this flap right here that I'm going to fold over and tape down. Isn't that neat? Alright, it's finally completed. See right here? And what I've done is I've already slipped it on this pistol belt. Isn't that neat? It's kind of neat that if you've ever got, like, if you're ever in a situation to where you have a few tools, but you have no way of carrying them, just grab you a bunch of cardboard and duct tape. Another thing you could do if you want to be long lasting, you could even cut up a 2-liter bottle and it would work. Okay, let's take a closer look down here at it. So I got it on my pistol belt. Click it back on. Alright. See if how a knife fits in. Knife should fit in pretty good. Woo. There we go. See, ain't nothing wrong with there. Seize down a little bit, see how the saw fits in there. Alright, the saw's going to fit right in that pocket. I'm sure it's going to be a lot different if I actually make a real one out of cloth. And see, while we're at it, you know, let's have a little survival kit in there too. Have my sharpener, drop that in there. Have me a ferro rod, drop that down in there. There you go. Isn't that neat? Won't win a beauty contest, but it'll carry my stuff. Alright. Alright, now. Okay, now. As far, if you enjoy duct tape, if you love duct tape, that's the end of the video. But I like the way this turned out, so I think what I'm going to do, you know, if you want to hang around with me for a little while here, I'm going to get some, I got some Cordura around here. I think I do. I don't even know where I put it. I'll find it. I'll look for it. I got some Cordura around here, and I'll find it, and then I'm going to cut it out just like this one, and I'm going to cut it out just like this right here, and then I'm going to make one out of Cordura, see if I can do it. And see, if not, you could glue cloth to this. Ain't gonna win a beauty contest. Alright, let's go find the Cordura. Alright, I got my Cordura here now of what I'm gonna use. Some pretty thick stuff. I hope it'll hold. Anyway, first thing you want to do is you want to make a little test pattern or patch and make sure that your sewing machine will sew 3 or 4 layers of it, and mine will. And I've got a very, very, very heavy thread. It's upholstery thread and a big needle. And I got some Velcro, and I got some binding, I got some other stuff. And I've been taking the measurements off of my duct tape sheath, and then I'm transferred them over here to a piece of paper right here, and I've wrote down everything that I think I need to do. So, all right, let's dive right in and then get to cutting on it. All right, let's see. Alright, I got a couple of pieces cut here. And the first thing I'm going to do is they got some wrinkles in them to make them a little bit easier to deal with. I'm going to take a small iron and I'm going to iron them flat. Alright, now this stuff right here, I'm kind of new to this whole sewing thing. So, well, I mean, yeah, I am, but I ain't. This stuff here is called binding, okay? I think that's the technical name, but actually what it is it's an edging that instead of overlapping these, you'll have this on the outside edge of it. See? It gives it a neat look. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take a bunch of this edging. You buy it by the yard. They have big rolls of it at the fabric store. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over like that. And then I'm going to iron it a little at a time. See, what I'll do is I'll hold it down. And then I'll put the iron on it. And then I'll start ironing in that flat. That way it'll make it easier to sew. And I'm going to do enough of this for the whole project. Alright, I got all the binding cut, and I got whatever pieces I need ironed, okay? Now the piece that I got right here of Cordura is 3 1/4 wide by a total of 31 1/2 long. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to sew. You have to do it all in steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sew these ends on right here. Okay, I got 2 different ends I got to sew on. And then I got a loop I'm going to try to sew on. So let's see if this works. I'm going to back it up to lock the stitch in. Whoop. Alright, now like I said, this is, I have sewn, you've seen me sew some projects before, but this is like the first time that I've ever messed with any of this kind of stuff like this right here. So it's kind of a learning process for me too, but a little sloppy, but it ain't going to be in no beauty contest. Alright, I got the binding done. I got it there and I got it on the back side, and I got it temporarily kind of taped together so I can see how wide the loop's going to be. Okay, now what I want to do next is I'll lift this up. I'll lay the knife in there to where I think it's going to be. Okay, now right here where it gets secured, what I'm going to do, most knife sheaths have a snap. Okay, well, instead of a snap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a strap around it. I'm going to cut this to size, and I'm going to use a strap around it with Velcro on each end. So you can buy Velcro by the foot too. Sew on or glue on. This is sew on. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is similar to the way this part is on this knife sheath. It's got a patch sewn on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece to 6 inches, and then I'm going to put a little patch of Velcro on one side, and then another little patch on the other side. So. And then I'm going to sew it on. Now what I got to do is I got to sew it on to this part before I put the binding down the sides. Kind of like the way this binding is done down the side. So I'm just kind of copying a little bit of the, not necessarily the design, but the way this is sewn together. Okay, so I'm going to cut this up and sew it next. Cut me a little patch of this and sew it on. Alright, I got 2 patches of the Velcro right here that I've got done. I got them cut out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew one to one end, and then I'm going to sew to the other end. That way it'll be able to fold over and latch. And then I'll sew this part to the sheath. Isn't that neat? if I had said this or not before, but when you cut the ends of this strapping, you have to burn it. You have to burn the ends of it with a cigarette lighter, or it'll be all fuzzy. Okay. Now I got this patch done here, and then I got this other little patch of Velcro done right here. So it goes together. Okay, now the next step was what you do is you set the knife where you want it, and you slide this under. Let's see. Yeah, that's how. Alright. You kind of slide this under and eyeball where you want it. Okay. Now I've left a little piece on here to where I can pull it off with my hand. Okay. And then you double check it right here to make sure that you've got this part right here right, and then you've got this right. Okay. Then what you do, you pull it apart, you hold it down. Okay. Now most normal people will use pins, but I am sort of a backyard kind of guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of tape on here, and I'm going to hold these edges down with tape. And then what I'm going to do, the reason I'm doing this before the sheath is complete is because what I got to do is it winds up landing right where this loop is. So I'm just going to pull this thing apart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew this in the middle before I do the loop. But before I do the loop, I'm going to put the edging on the edge where the loop is down to here. Okay, you'll see in just a minute. Alright, I got this part attached right here. So, let's see if it worked out alright. Yep, worked out good. So what I'll do now, I'm pretty much out of time for today. I'll take this edging, and I'll put this edging tomorrow all along the side right here, and I'll stop right here, and then I'll sew the loop on, and then I'll take this piece, okay, I'll sew it all the way up to here, and then I'll stop, and then I'll take this other piece that's going to be the pocket for the saw, and then I'm going to sew it on, not saw it on. I'll sew it on, and then once that's done, then this piece that's hanging off, I'll be able to take it all the way down the end. Okay? But I'm tired, it's late. I'll finish this thing up tomorrow. You'll never know I was gone. Alright, what I'm doing now is I'm making up a couple extra little pieces right here, and I'm going to make me a piece on the back. I'm going to sew this together, and this is going to be my lower belt loop, okay? Because what I got to do is on the bottom side right here, I'm going to sew this on right here so that I'll have a belt loop go around my leg. Now, I've got this right here sewed. I've got the edging sewed all the way down to just below this. Okay, so the next step will be to sew the back loop. Okay, I'll sew that loop on, and then I'll sew this other loop on the bottom that I'm making. Scissors. Alright. There's a loop where I can put my strap to go around my leg. I can fold this over so that. Man, this is getting sloppier by the minute. That's a wad of thread on it, but this ain't too bad for a backyard outfit. I got it a little crooked over here. Cause see, I had to sew it right here in the middle, along with this. But out on the ends, I didn't want a bunch of thread right in here, so I just sewed it right out here to secure the ends. So it's secured in here and in here. Okay. Now I think we're going to move on to the front pouch. Alright. I think you can kind of understand what I'm doing now. The reason I left these hanging off the side. Okay, I've got this sewn on, and then I've got a loop in the back here for my belt. And then I've got a loop in the bottom to go around my leg. So see, now what I got to do is just fold this over. And see, that makes my knife pouch. And then I got this other piece of material, which I will put right here, which will make my saw pouch. See? And now what I got to do is I'm going to fold this over, both of them, and then I'm going to sew it all the way down. And then I'm going to pucker this up. Okay? And then I sew this all the way down. See, then all that'll be left is I put a plastic liner inside here, and I will be good to go. I'll be ready for the my excursion into the wild. Alright, now after I got the sides all sewn up right here with this pocket, what I did on the bottom of it is I just sort of held it flat and sewed across it. And I've got these pieces across here, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fold this. Let's see if I can see this. I'm going to fold this one across. And then I'm going to sew that one on the bottom. And then I'm going to fold this one across. And then I sew this on the bottom, and then the bottom will be done. And then all will be left is I can put I'll put a plastic liner inside here for the knife, and it'll be done. Alright, now, as you can see, these look almost identical. Anyway, okay, with this one, you can pretty much just drop the saw right into the pouch and it fits good. Now, where the knife goes, that's a different story. Okay, you need to put a plastic liner in there. Now, you can buy Lexan or polycarbonate sheet, or what you can do is you can find some packaging. If it's thick enough, you can use it. Okay, now what this is this is some kind of polycarbonate that Christmas boxes came in. You just simply take this off, and then you've got the sheets here, you know. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to the length that I need from here to here, and then I'm going to cut it the width like 4 times, and then I'm going to fold it over a few times and then shove it in here, and then that's where the knife will sit. So anyway, that's pretty neat. I used to buy this stuff, but I got to realizing that if you find this stuff thick enough, it's the same stuff. It doesn't matter. It'll work just as well. Alright, now I got this thing cut right here, and what I've done is I have cut it the depth of my sheath. Okay, now what you want to do is then you cut it 4 times the width of your sheath. Okay, not the width of the blade, but the width of the sheath. What works good on this clear plastic is a silver magic marker. So what you do now is you mark it the width of your sheath. Okay, align your marks right here, and then you just simply take it and fold it over and put a line in it. Okay, and you just do that 4 times. Okay, and it's nice to have an edge on it. It's nice to have this edge on it already, because after I folded it over a few times, that's just going to grab a hold of it and hug it. Ain't that neat? And so it'll be double layered. So I'm going to fold that over and shove it down in there and see how it fits. Alright, this just looks like a mess here, but let's see if I can cut you on up here. You can see this plastic has been folded over, so it's double wall. Okay? And I've just folded it over, and it's under tension. Now, it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit wider than the sheath, which is good. So what you do now, fold it over like that, and you just sort of cram it up in there. And then it's going to spring back, and then it's going to stay in place. Might be a little bit too tall. I'd rather it be too tall than too short. That's pretty close. I may just leave it like that then. If you want to, you can squirt some glue down in there. See, the cool thing about it now is then you got a nice tight fit for your knife. Isn't that neat? Isn't that cool? Oh man, that turned out pretty doggone good, if I say so myself, for homemade on a sewing machine. I just can't decide which one I like the best. Which one do y'all think? Alright, I gotta tag some people. I done took up enough of y'all's time. Let's see who I'm gonna tag. Alright, well there it is. It fits on my pistol belt here. And I think I like that. I'm glad I got tagged on the duct tape thing, because, you know, it inspired me to make this. But it's time to pull all this stuff out of here, because that's not what the video's about. Alright. The video is about a duct tape sheath. So it just goes to show you what you can do whenever you have nothing to work with. So you can do what you can with what you have, and everything is a tool. Cloth, thread, needles, duct tape, cardboard, plastic. You know, you don't have to go running off buying everything new. You know what I mean? Make whatever. So, alright, this has been a lot of fun, and it was cool, you know, make you up a sheath out of duct tape. Yeah, I'm going to tag 3 people. I'm going to put you at the end of the video, because I haven't looked to see who's on my list. But make a sheath for your knife or your machete or your axe, or some kind of container that you could use outdoors in bushcraft, improvised out of duct tape. Okay, make you one and tag 3 more people and have fun with it. Okay, this is supposed to be a fun deal. It's been a lot of fun for me because I don't think I would have made this other sheath had I not been tagged. And just, I don't know, when I saw this one, the idea came to me, and I remember I had that cloth left over from a floor from a shelter. So, all right, enough rambling. I tagged 3 people at the end. You guys make me a duct tape sheath, and I'll see you in the next one.